Following weeks of stress, leaked video, and legal mayhem, Cameron surprises everyone by making public Chrissy's private voicemails. Chrissy personally pleaded with him to remove these messages, which are more than simply voice notes. Their nuclear-ass fans becomes silent. You can tell a storm is coming, but when he claps back, he ruins everything. The real question, as Jim Jones spins, is why Chrissy told Cam what she did in the first place, and why now, as every voicemail reveals more information, what's left isn't very good. Allegiance has been broken. The internet is devouring everything about love, but for those at the center of the conflagration, this is no longer amusement. Tit survival greetings from Fallout retaliation quickly devolves into a receipt war, remorse, and disclosure on social media at precisely 12 p.m. Cameron sent out a single enigmatic tweet that said, "You're ready to hear her big." It started off like any other afternoon, skimming postings and memes. A fresh post surfaced on Cam's Instagram story, and the internet didn't need to invitations. A few minutes later, while I wasn't thinking clearly, an audio message with the label Chrissy voicemail appeared on a black screen. Please click the camera and delete those messages. You weren't supposed to save the voicemails. It was obvious that Cameron's one post sparked the hip-hop community as a whole. Was it true? And if so, what else was in store? Without waiting, Cam shared a second story, writing, "When you tried to play me, but I didn't remember that I keep my receipts." The statement read, "I don't lose receipts. Jim can't know about what I told you because it will ruin everything. Read another voicemail." After a day, the story disappeared, but not before it was screen captured, shared, and dissected. Within an hour, it spread like wildfire, according to an entertainment lawyer on TikTok, who said that if they were without permission, despite the fact that he would be in serious trouble, Cam refused to back down and posted a screenshot of a text thread in which Chrissy asked him, "You didn't save those, right?" Then came a telegram from the receipts were piling up, and Jim Jones was silent for hours on end. Fans described the stillness as deafening. Meanwhile, Chrissy's Instagram went dark, with no posts or stories, just a single inconspicuous modification to her once love-filled bio. Cam responded with a shrug emoji. After rumors went viral, Chrissy confided in Cam about whether they were ever more than just friends during a trying period with Jim, and if not, what was she hiding? Theories abound in podcasts for their effectiveness. Quotes and brand tags now read simply, "Don't test the silent ones." Cameron is very calculated. There was blood in the water, according to Jim's close friends and family. However, Petty said that one host was trying to paint a picture and had the brush paint a complete canvas. Kim released a video of himself speaking boldly to the audience after Chrissy confided in him, and he felt duped by both Chrissy and Cam. The saddest part was that no one recognized how much more Cam was sitting on and back in the spotlight. "Even if I didn't want to, you had better be ready for me to uncover whatever you buried, Mick, since I used a camera instead of a voicemail." There was a commotion in the comment area, with some fans supporting Cam and claiming that he was defending himself, following months of being. Others blamed him for being messy and impolite, stating, "This isn't hip-hop, this is high school." But no one could dispute it. He was also held responsible for scandals and leaks. Jim eventually spoke up following Cam's article, grabbing the world's attention with the words, "Clowns perform, kings reconstruct." Everyone understood exactly what it meant, even if it didn't name Cam or say Chrissy. Later, when it was late, Cam left 3 voicemails that night, dropping the biggest bomb, but legal experts began to weigh in once more, claiming that what did it indicate about Chrissy's relationship with Jim if she was phoning Cam during times of uncertainty, anguish, or betrayal? And why did Cam still have those recordings? Depending on where this was taped, Cam might have to deal with serious repercussions. You can't hold it against me forever because I was wounded and upset when I said what I did about Jim. It was more ugly than we had expected at the storm's center, and when Kim shared a meme of a frog sipping tea, there were speculations that a public statement or perhaps a diss track with Jim reportedly informed close pals that he was done sheltering everyone else and ready to clear the air. Only changing updating timeframes didn't take long. Imminent Chrissy kept mute, but silence has weight, and hers was thundering. Jim Jones made a spectacular comeback to the public eye less than 48 hours after Cameron's voicemail leak went viral online, with everyone watching and waiting. He began subtly, like the silence before a storm. At 8 o'clock a.m., Jim's official account tweeted simply, Every king has his day. Alright, a marketing image with a shattered crown, title and a black background declared. The hushes ended. Fans were aware of what a diss track would be, but they were unaware that it would be released at 11:11 a.m. With a rough one-take video shot on the rooftop of a Harlem building. The lyrics were extremely incisive and a poetic sniper shot, but Jim didn't stop there. Later that afternoon, he verified on Instagram Live that Chrissy's voicemails were authentic and ancient. Jim released the song on all platforms. I didn't have a show, but I've already outgrown them. Your backing singer is hardly on key, and Eric was sobbing to you without telling me. Kim is holding on to it. She claims that she reached out to Kim during a brief breakup, but she denies that anything nefarious transpired. While the internet was in a state of uncertainty, some tabloid junkies were unexpected. Other admirers complimented Jim for handling the situation with maturity and for finally standing his own. Cam's answer was accurate. He didn't rap, but others thought that his quiet was disrespectful. With the caption, "When the king's castle's made of gossip," he posted a picture of Jim wearing a crown that had been manipulated to look cracked, crooked, and coming apart, telling thousands of listeners and influencers that he had let Cam's story take over and that it was too little, too late. At one point that same evening, a former affiliate revealed a bombshell. By midnight, Chrissy Gate and Cam versus Jim were trending, and even journalists and ex-Dipay affiliates joined in scrutinizing every word on Jim's disc and every second of Cam's video. Celebrities commented on Cam's memes, with some using laughing emojis and others tweeting their support for Jim. He hasn't even released the worst one yet, and he's holding on to something bigger. Rumors circulated that Chrissy had revealed something worse in a voicemail. In the heart of the cultural divide, insiders close to Chrissy informed blogs that she was hurt, astonished, and outraged, and one blog even claimed that she was talking to her lawyer about her options. Chrissy remained silent, but her silence was now being construed in new ways. Was she preparing to clap back herself, or was she feeling regret and embarrassment? A new voicemail would be an additional unexpected development if the messages were used for monetary benefit or defamation. Jones, in an enigmatic Instagram story, Joseph Little Capo, Jim's son, said that they had both failed her and were now forcing her to listen to playlists. One post caused a second uproar, with Joseph either supporting Chrissy or criticizing Jim and Cam for taking. By the next morning, Cam had become very quiet and people were expecting another voicemail and another meme because his account had posted nothing. In any case, it provided the public something else to ponder about. A lawyer, for amusement, conjectured that legal if Chrissy's lawyers issued a cease and desist order, Cam's silence could mean that he is preparing to confront Jim but hasn't finished. 2 days later, he produced a behind-the-scenes movie called Rebuilding the Throne, which combined family moments, studio footage, and him in therapy, made it obvious that he was owning his pain rather than performing it. Supporters called it development, while critics called it public relations. However, one statement from Cam's burner account stood out. Chrissy finally broke her quiet with a tweet that said, "Let them burn each other, I'm done being the match." Striking out rebuilt it. But keep in mind who took it down first. She shared a straightforward picture of herself standing in front of a mirror. And the dispute was the audience was inundated with memes, reposts, and think pieces on how we treat women in hip-hop drama, privacy, forgiveness, and legacy. No one knew, but everyone was watching, and the buzz was starting to go down, but the scars stayed. For the first time in weeks, as the dust settled, everyone waited for one more thing to happen. Would Cam release another voicemail? Would Chrissy do an interview? Or would someone post anything? No tweets, no lives, just silent sand that somehow shouted louder than any diss tune ever could. In the Brooklyn studio, members of his inner circle flank his inscrutable face. There is no news conference or fristle, just a quick press release, telling the paparazzi that you don't have to perform it all at once while you're recovering. Cameron's camp claimed he was moving on from the incident and would focus on the music instead of the mess, but in a surprising turn of events, the damage had already been done to many. Charlemagne alluded to a Breakfast Club-only event. When everyone was watching the next morning, Chrissy proceeded by saying that the message originated from a period in her life when she felt abandoned, unheard, and worried she didn't have anyone to talk to. "We have someone in the building tomorrow who will clear the air." Deny ever spoken to Cameron, but she did state, "I'm here to speak the truth, not for clicks, not for gossip, just the truth." Lynn was graceful, composed, and worn out, yet she refused to acknowledge any wrongdoing by calling in a startling change of events. Cam held Jim responsible for the voicemail's release, calling it petty and nasty, and added that no woman should have her darkest moments transformed into online content. She also claimed that there were emotional things I needed from Jim that I didn't receive. The room was quiet until Charlemagne leaned forward and asked a question that was on everyone's mind at the time. Would you ever accept? I believed Cam could help Jim realize why we were all friends once we were family, but that version of us no longer exists. After a little pause, Chrissy remarked, "We'll always love each other, but sometimes love just isn't enough." This doesn't justify what Kim did, but it does explain why I first sought out. The interview's videos went going viral on social media. Although she didn't ask for any of this, most people seemed to sympathize with her as she played victim, with some praising her for her composure and honesty, and others blaming her. One comment read, "Kim weaponized her anguish, Jim disregarded it, lived it." Meanwhile, Cameron's 5-track surprise EP, Deleted Messages, straddled the line between apology and resistance. The track titles featured voice notes from the archives that said, "There is no allegiance." Instead of responding with music, Jim remained silent and announced the launch of King's Rebuild, a mental health effort for males in the hip-hop community. "We've all made errors, but it's time to start. Every song in Red Receipt deleted for me, not for you, spoke to sadness. Healing in the proper manner with accountability, honesty, and support." Both detractors and admirers praised him for this move. Conversely, Cray collaborated with a women's advocacy organization to produce a podcast titled Giving Voice to Women in the Spotlight, and How Public Narratives Usually Deprive Them of Their Humanity. Her own tale in the first episode, "I'm here to reclaim my trauma, not to relive it." Cam, Jim, Chrissy, Joseph, and everyone else involved saw this story as the conclusion of a whether you favor Cameron or not. This is a period of time when friendship and music success were linked, but he never shared the final voicemail, which some say was too traumatic, and others say he recognized he had gone too far. The world had watched them come apart, but now they were all beginning to mend. And even while the drama might never finish online, the individuals at its heart were moving on. One voicemail, proving that betrayal, love, and celebrity are more complicated than ever in the digital age. It is evident that everyone has a story, and not all of them are worthy of making news. And Snow is candid with Bard Jim Jones at one point in an attempt to heal Chrissy's emotional wounds. Now is your chance to discuss what you think truly happened behind the scenes. Did Cam act right by keeping quiet, or was Chrissy misinterpreted or manipulative? Was Cam wrong to disclose private chats, or was he merely using receipts to support his position? Should Jim have spoken up sooner? Please provide your thoughts in the comments section area below, and don't forget to hit like for other exciting, in-depth analyses. In a world full of filters, fake grins, and ulterior intentions, we're here to make things simple. Please share and subscribe, uncooked and unedited, until the next time. So don't forget to press the notification button so that you never overlook the reality behind the drama. Stay vigilant, remain curious, and above all, be ready because you might get the upcoming voicemail.